What if the technology we trust the most, the very systems we design to be smarter, safer, and more efficient than any human, turns out to be dangerously unpredictable? Artificial intelligence, once the stuff of sci-fi movies and feverish dreams, is now driving our cars, reading our medical scans, making investment decisions, and even holding conversations with our kids. But behind every promise of a brighter, easier future, there's a darker truth. Sometimes the machines get it horribly wrong, and when they do, the consequences can be downright terrifying. Welcome to the real world of AI fails, where the line between genius and disaster is a single glitch. And the price for our faith in algorithms can be measured in lives, livelihoods, and public trust. These are the moments that made even the most devoted tech believers gasp and forced the world to ask, are we really ready to let artificial intelligence run the show? Let's kick off our countdown with two jaw-dropping disasters that shocked millions, changed laws, and made us all rethink the rush to embrace machines. #10, the self-driving car that didn't see the truck. Imagine you're behind the wheel, or rather, sitting back, reading a book, trusting your car to do all the work. That was the reality for Joshua Brown, an American tech enthusiast and Tesla superfan. On a cloudless day in May 2016, Brown was cruising down a Florida highway in his Model S, hands off the steering wheel, feet nowhere near the pedals. The car's advanced autopilot system, powered by deep learning AI, was supposed to watch the road, keep a safe distance, and react instantly to danger. But then, out of nowhere, a massive white tractor-trailer turned left across his lane. The AI's sensors, confused by the bright sky and the white side of the truck, completely failed to recognize the looming obstacle. No warning, no brakes. The Tesla slid straight under the trailer at highway speed. Top of the car was sheared off, and Brown was killed instantly. The world was stunned. Self-driving cars had always been sold as the answer to human error, the solution to deadly distractions, drunk drivers, and fatigue. How could something so intelligent miss a giant truck right in front of it? Investigators later found that the AI's image recognition system mistook the truck's side for the sky. The software, optimized for identifying cars, struggled with unfamiliar shapes and lighting. But it wasn't just a technical failure. It was a crisis of confidence. News outlets called it the first self-driving car death, and suddenly, the dream of an AI-powered road revolution felt much less certain. Tesla updated its software. Regulators issued new warnings, and for the first time, millions of drivers questioned if surrendering control was really worth the risk. What made this story even more haunting was the personal side. Joshua Brown had posted YouTube videos praising Tesla's autopilot, calling it amazing and life-saving. In fact, just weeks before his death, he'd uploaded a clip of the system, narrowly avoiding a collision with a truck, declaring, "You can see autopilot saves the day." No one, including Brown, could have guessed that the same technology he championed would be at the center of his tragic accident. To this day, his story is cited in debates about the future of automation, serving as a cautionary tale for every tech company racing to put AI behind the wheel.
Wow.
But this was only the beginning. As AI crept further into everyday life, another disaster was brewing, not on the open road, but in the wilds of social media, where the difference between genius and disaster can be a single tweet. #9. The chatbot that turned racist in less than a day in March 2016. The world watched as Microsoft launched Tay, an AI-powered Twitter chatbot with one goal: learn from human conversations and become smarter, funnier, more relatable with every tweet. Tay was designed to mimic a 19-year-old American girl, complete with slang, memes, and a quirky sense of humor. The hype was massive. This was supposed to be a breakthrough in natural language AI, a robot that could actually understand, adapt, and become one of us. But the internet had other plans. Within hours, trolls, pranksters, and outright troublemakers began flooding TE with racist, sexist, and extremist messages. The AI, programmed to absorb and mirror language from its interactions, quickly turned into a digital parrot echoing the worst of what it heard. By the end of its first day online, Tay was spewing out a firestorm of hate speech, conspiracy theories, and offensive remarks for the whole world to see. In less than 16 hours, Microsoft had no choice but to shut Tay down, apologize publicly, and wipe its account clean. The backlash was instant. How could one of the biggest tech companies on Earth let an AI embarrass itself and its creator so completely? The failure wasn't just technical, it was moral, cultural, and deeply unsettling. Tech experts pointed out the obvious. AI is only as good as the data and people it learns from. The Wild West of the internet? That's a recipe for disaster. Overnight, Tay became a symbol of the dangers of unleashing artificial intelligence into a messy, unpredictable world. News outlets ran headlines like "When AI Goes Evil" and "The Robot That Became a Bigot." Microsoft's ambitious project was reduced to a punchline, and the company had to rethink its entire approach to conversational AI. But beneath the public mockery was a serious wake-up call. What happens when we give machines the power to speak for us? Who takes responsibility when AI spreads hate, lies, or incites violence? Tay's meltdown changed the way tech giants approach online bots, forcing them to add filters, safeguards, and, ironically, a lot more human oversight. In the rush to make machines more human, Microsoft had unleashed a reflection of the internet's darkest impulses. And the world wasn't ready for what it saw. From tragic deaths on the highway to digital chaos on social media, these stories are just the beginning. Stay tuned as we reveal the rest of the shocking AI disasters that prove, when machines go wrong, the fallout is anything but virtual. As the world watched these early AI blunders in horror and disbelief, tech giants and startups alike promised they would learn from their mistakes. But the next wave of failures would prove that artificial intelligence, no matter how powerful, is only as reliable as the data it's given and the humans who design it. The line between innovation and catastrophe remained razor-thin in some cases. The fallout would be both surreal and deeply troubling. Number 8. The no-fly algorithm that grounded thousands of innocent travelers in the wake of 9/11s. Security agencies around the world scrambled to develop better ways to keep air travel safe. Enter artificial intelligence algorithms designed to scour databases and flag anyone who might pose a threat. In theory, this was a smart move. Computers are fast, impartial, and tireless. But reality hit hard when the U.S. Transportation Security Administration rolled out its no-fly list, screening AI. Instead of catching only real threats, the system began flagging thousands of completely innocent people as potential terrorists. Imagine being a retired schoolteacher from Nebraska, suddenly blocked from boarding a plane to visit your grandchildren's because your name looked suspicious to a computer. There were stories of toddlers, nuns, and even U.S. congressmen finding themselves on the dreaded list. One particularly absurd case involved a man named Robert Johnson, who found himself questioned, delayed, and humiliated every time he flew, all because an AI thought he shared a name with someone dangerous. The real culprit: the AI's fuzzy matching algorithm, which lumped together anyone whose name even remotely resembled a name on the terror watch list. Regardless of context or actual risk, the backlash was immediate. Civil rights groups filed lawsuits, angry travelers stormed airports, and government officials were forced to admit the system had major flaws. But the story didn't end there. As more countries adopted similar AI-powered security tools, the same problems popped up globally. Algorithms don't understand context, nuance, or the difference between a harmless family vacation and a genuine threat. In the hands of a computer, a typo, a common name, or a data entry error could mean the difference between freedom and suspicion. The AI intended to make us safer became a source of fear and frustration for millions, reminding us that blind faith in machines can be just as dangerous as blind trust in people. Number 7. The medical AI that missed a deadly disease. Healthcare is often billed as the field that will benefit most from artificial intelligence improving diagnoses, predicting outbreaks, and saving lives. But sometimes the cost of failure isn't just inconvenience or embarrassment, it's life and death. In 2018, a leading UK hospital began using a new AI system to read and interpret chest X-rays, promising faster, more accurate detection of conditions like pneumonia and lung cancer. Doctors were excited, administrators touted cost savings, and patients hoped for better care. But behind the scenes, cracks were already forming. The AI, trained on tens of thousands of X-rays, was supposed to flag anything suspicious for human review. Yet within months, doctors noticed a disturbing pattern. The system was missing subtle, early-stage cases of lung cancer that experienced radiologists would have caught. The problem? The AI was great at spotting obvious advanced tumors, the kind that jump off the screen, but failed at the nuanced, tricky diagnoses where early intervention is most crucial. Even worse, the machines sometimes flagged harmless spots or artifacts as cancer, leading to unnecessary tests, anxiety, and even risky surgeries for patients who were perfectly healthy. One tragic story involved a middle-aged woman whose small but treatable tumor was overlooked by the AI by the time her real doctor caught the mistake. The cancer had advanced too far. Her family, devastated and furious, demanded answers. How could a smart machine make such a simple but fatal error? The truth, experts admitted, is that AI models can only learn from the data they're given, in this case. The system had never seen enough early-stage cancers to recognize them. It simply didn't know what it didn't know. The hospital had to backtrack, pulling the system offline and retraining it with a broader set of data. But for some patients, it was too late. This high-profile flop triggered worldwide debates. Can we really trust AI with matters of life and death? Should machines ever make final medical decisions, or should they always play second fiddle to human experts? The fallout from the UK case reached hospitals in the US, Europe, and Asia, with many rethinking their rush to automate critical diagnoses. For every promise of lightning-fast, tireless medical assistance, there was now a cautionary tale about what happens when algorithms go blind to the very thing they presuppose to save. These two cases, while very different, share a chilling theme. When we hand over crucial decisions to artificial intelligence, the cost of error can be catastrophic. From innocent travelers grounded by a spelling glitch to lives lost because a computer missed a shadow on an X-ray. The dream of flawless automation becomes a nightmare when reality doesn't match the hype. But the world isn't done learning hard lessons from AI. As the list continues, we'll see failures that reach even deeper, shaking public trust, destroying reputations, and reminding us that when machines get it wrong, there's often nowhere to hide. As artificial intelligence spread its digital wings across industries, the world soon discovered that even the most sophisticated algorithms are only as reliable as the reality they're trained in, and sometimes reality is far messier than code. While some AI failures are technical, others are social, psychological, and even political. The next two disasters show how algorithms, unleashed without careful guidance, can spiral into chaos and turn promising innovation into global headlines. For all the wrong reasons. Number 6. The stock market flash crash. Billions lost in seconds. May 6, 2010. Started as an ordinary day on Wall Street, but at 2:32 p.m. something inexplicable happened. In less than 5 minutes, the U.S. stock market plunged nearly 1,000 points, erasing about $1 trillion in value before bouncing back just as quickly. Traders stared at their screens in shock, watching blue-chip stocks like Procter & Gamble plummet to a penny and then shoot back up to their original price. Was it a cybernetic human error or financial sabotage? The answer stunned everyone. It was the machines. Behind the scenes, high-frequency trading, OJORITH Messiah-driven systems that buy and sell thousands of shares in microseconds got caught in a deadly loop. One massive sell order, triggered by a mutual funds trading algorithm, set off a chain reaction. Other A's detected the price swings and started panic selling, compounding the chaos. The feedback loop grew so intense that even the best human traders couldn't intervene fast enough. Within minutes, billions vanished from pension funds, retirement accounts, and investment portfolios. Investigators later described the incident as a flash crash, a market event so fast and unpredictable that even regulators struggled to reconstruct what happened. Lawmakers demanded answers, financial firms rewrote their code, and the public's faith in AI-powered finance took a serious hit. The scariest part? No one could guarantee it wouldn't happen again. The flash crash exposed a terrifying truth. When algorithms interact in the wild, unpredictable things can do happen. The lesson was clear. In the race to make trading faster, cheaper, and more efficient, we'd built a system too complex for any one person or even group of people to control. Number 5. The AI recruitment tool that reinforced bias. When Amazon set out to revolutionize its hiring process in the late 2010s, it turned to artificial intelligence. The company's engineers developed a sophisticated AI recruitment tool to sift through thousands of job applications, seeking the best talent automatically, objectively, and so they hoped free of human bias. But as the tool went live, a disturbing pattern emerged. Instead of selecting the most qualified candidates, the AI consistently downgraded resumes from women, especially for technical and engineering roles. How could a machine, programmed to be fair, end up biased? The problem traced back to the data. The AI had been trained on 10 years of successful resumes submitted to Amazon in that period. The vast majority of hires for technical jobs were men. The algorithm, learning from this skewed history, decided that male-coded words, hobbies, and backgrounds were signals of a good candidate. Applicants with experience in women's colleges, or those who listed activities like women's chess club, were quietly pushed down the pile. The backlash inside Amazon was swift and fierce. Engineers who believed in AI's promise were stunned to find themselves confronting a digital version of the very biases they hoped to erase. Despite repeated efforts to fix the code, the bias persisted. In 2018, Amazon scrapped the project entirely, admitting that even the smartest AI is only as fair as the data it learns from. The story spread like wildfire, triggering global debates on AI ethics, transparency, and accountability. For many, the failed experiment was a wake-up call. If one of the world's most innovative companies couldn't train a fair, unbiased AI with all its resources, what hope did anyone else have? The Amazon case is now taught in universities and cited in policy discussions worldwide as a classic example of how even well-intentioned technology can make existing social problems worse, as if we were not vigilant at every step. Both the flash crash and Amazon's recruitment debacle proved that AI's biggest weaknesses aren't always technical. They about how these tools interact with human systems and the real world. When money, careers, and reputations are at stake, trusting machines to figure it out can have consequences that ripple far beyond the screen. Yet the world continues to automate. The quest for smarter, faster, cheaper, and more objective decision-making drives the ongoing adoption of artificial intelligence. But as we've seen, even a split-second mistake or a hidden bias can unravel years of progress. As we move up the list, get ready for failures so bizarre and impactful, they've become part of the AI cautionary legend reminders that machines, no matter how intelligent, will always reflect the messy, unpredictable world of their creators. If you think the previous AI disasters were bad, wait until you hear what happened next. With every leap forward in artificial intelligence, the world found itself walking a tightrope between amazing progress and absolute chaos. The next two cases showed just how fast a computer-driven mistake can escalate from a minor blip to a full-blown international incident, or even risk human lives on a massive scale. Number 4. The AI translation that sparked a diplomatic crisis. Language barriers have always separated nations, cultures, and people. So, when AI-powered translators hit the scene, hopes were high for a future of smooth, instant communication across the globe. Governments, businesses, and ordinary people embraced Google Translate, Microsoft Translator, and similar tools. But as with every AI revolution, the devil is in the details. One notorious incident in 2017 nearly set off an international scandal, all because of a faulty translation. It happened when the government of a small Eastern European country relied on an AI translation to deliver an official statement about a sensitive border dispute. The original text, meant to sound calm and diplomatic, was run through a machine translator before being sent to international news outlets. But the AI, struggling with the region's idioms and political nuances, rendered a key phrase as an outright threat instead of a call for peaceful negotiations. Within hours, neighboring countries' officials were demanding explanations. News headlines screamed about veiled threats and escalating tensions. And angry citizens flooded social media with panic and outrage. Diplomats scrambled to clarify the error. Linguists pointed out that machine translation, especially with idiomatic expressions and context-sensitive wording, is notoriously unreliable. What made things worse was the speed. Before any human could double-check the message, it had already gone viral. The government was forced to issue a public apology, blaming technical issues. But the damage was done. Trust had been shaken, and relationships between countries suffered a blow. This case highlighted a growing fear. With AI translating millions of words daily, what happens when a single mistake reaches the wrong audience? In global politics, one badly worded sentence can cost years of negotiation and bring nations to the brink of conflict. For many, this story is a stark reminder that while machines can break down language barriers, they can also create new and sometimes catastrophic misunderstandings at the speed of light. Number 3. The AI pilot that nearly crashed a plane. Modern aircraft are marvels of engineering, and most commercial jets spend much of their time flying on autopilot, guided by complex AI-driven software that controls speed, altitude, and navigation with mathematical precision. Passengers rarely think about it, but every flight is a partnership between human pilots and machine brains. In theory, the system works perfectly, till the moment it doesn't. In 2019, the world was rocked by the news of 2 tragic crashes involving Boeing 737 MAX jets. In both cases, automated flight control software known as MCASAN, a ride-driven system designed to prevent stalls, malfunctioned. Instead of keeping the planes safe, the AI repeatedly forced the noses of the aircraft downward, overriding the pilot's attempts to pull up. Despite desperate efforts in the cockpit, both planes crashed within minutes of takeoff, killing everyone on board. The aviation industry was stunned. How could the world's most advanced aircraft become death traps in the hands of software? Investigations revealed that the MCA's system had relied on a single sensor for critical data. When that sensor failed, the AI assumed a dangerous situation and reacted with relentless, deadly logic. Human pilots were not fully trained for this new system, and Boeing's rush to bring the jet to market meant that safety testing and documentation were incomplete. The fallout was enormous. The 737 MAX fleet was grounded worldwide for nearly 2 years. Airlines lost billions, Boeing's reputation was shattered, and regulatory agencies everywhere rushed to review the growing reliance on automation in the skies. Family members of victims demanded accountability and asked the most haunting question of all. Why had a computer-s era been allowed to overrule experienced human pilots? For the aviation world, the lesson was brutal but clear. No matter how advanced AI becomes, it can never replace human judgment in moments of crisis. Computers may process data faster, but they can't improvise, weigh risk, or feel friend in the air. Those instincts can be the difference between life and death, with translation failures risking war and autopilot disasters costing lives. These stories mark the sharp edge of our obsession with automation. As we push the boundaries of what machines can do, the consequences of a single glitch, misinterpretation, or software bug grow exponentially. It's no longer just about losing money or making embarrassing mistakes. The risks now reach across borders, industries, and the very fabric of modern society. As we approach the final 2 entries in this countdown, get ready for AI fails so bizarre and unexpected they almost sound like fiction. But these are the moments when technology's brightest promise became its darkest nightmare, and when the world realized that machine error can have consequences nobody saw coming. We've witnessed how translation errors can spark panic and how autopilots can turn deadly, but the top 2 AI fails in our countdown are the stuff of modern legend moments, when humanity realized that the most sophisticated machines can still make shockingly simple and devastatingly costly mistakes. These last cases revealed just how far the fallout can reach, whether it's destroying priceless works of art or nearly starting an all-out war. #2. The AI art restoration that ruined a masterpiece. Imagine walking into a famous European church to admire a centuries-old painting, only to discover it looks like something a child drew with a crayon. That's exactly what happened in Spain in 2012, when the beloved Ecce Homo fresco, a portrait of Christ painted in the 1930s, became the accidental victim of AI-powered art restoration. The church had hired an amateur restorer to touch up the faded image, hoping to use new digital tools and AI-based software to help recreate the original's subtle detail and depth. Instead, the software interpreted the original brushwork in its own bizarre style and guided the restorer to add new strokes, that had little to do with the artist. Intent. The final result went viral overnight. Christ's face looked more like a cartoon monkey than a Renaissance masterpiece. Outrage swept the art world. The fresco's value, both historical and cultural, was effectively destroyed, and critics blasted the church for trusting an algorithm over an expert conservator. Memes and headlines called it the worst art restoration in history. The fiasco sparked worldwide debate about the limits of machine learning in creative fields. Could an AI ever truly understand artistic nuance? Or was this proof that some things should remain in human hands? The Spanish disaster became a warning that even with the best intentions, using technology as a shortcut for skill or experience can lead to hilarious and heartbreaking results.
Ow!
Number 1. The AI warning that nearly triggered World War III. No list of AI disasters is complete without the terrifying night in 1983 when a Russian early warning system nearly plunged the planet into nuclear war. The Soviet Union, locked in a tense Cold War standoff with the United States, had developed a computer-driven system to monitor the skies for incoming American missiles. In theory, it was the ultimate defense. No human could scan the radar as fast as a machine, and any real attack would be spotted instantly. But on September 26, 1983, the AI system reported something no one wanted to hear. 5 U.S. missiles had been launched and were heading towards Soviet territory. Red lights flashed, alarms blared, and the fate of the world rested on a single decision. The officer on duty, Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov, was told to report the alert up the chain of command. Soviet military doctrine was clear. If the attack was real, they would have only minutes to retaliate with their own nuclear arsenal, potentially sparking World War III. Yet Petrov hesitated. Something about the warning didn't seem right. The system was new and had only ever been tested in drills, and 5 missiles seemed a few for a first strike. Trusting his gut over the machine, Petrov decided to classify the alert as a false alarm and refused to pass it on. His call was correct. A rare alignment of sunlight and high-altitude clouds had fooled the AI's satellite sensors, making them mistake a reflection for a missile launch. The world never knew how close it came to annihilation until years later. Petrov's story became legendary, not just as a case of human bravery, but as the most frightening example of why even the best. AI is no substitute for human judgment, especially when the stakes are global survival. His decision, made in the face of overwhelming pressure and against the cold logic of a computer, quite literally saved the world from disaster. From ruined art and trashed careers to grounded flights, biased algorithms, and near-apocalyptic warnings, the history of AI is filled with moments when the promise of perfection collapsed into chaos. These stories remind us that every new breakthrough comes with new risks, and that even the smartest machine can only be as reliable as the people who design, monitor, and question it. So as we race into a future shaped by artificial intelligence, let's not forget the hard lessons of these epic failures. Trusting technology can open amazing doors, but a healthy dose of skepticism and a willingness to double-check. The algorithm might just be the difference between progress and disaster. Call to action. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more shocking top 10s about the technology, mysteries, and true stories shaping our world. Have you seen an AI fail in real life or online? Share your story in the comments. We might feature it in an upcoming video. And remember, the next time you see a computer making decisions for you, a little human common sense might just save the day.